All right. Emotional intelligence for technical people. What do you technical people know about emotional intelligence? Well, often not much because they don't have to. Why? Because technical people are whiz bang wizards and they can get away with not being emotional intelligent because they have other talents. But if they wouldn't have those other talents, then they'll be screwed. So those of you who are considered the smart guys, the technical folks, you're smart. Don't you feel like most people are stupid sometimes? Most other people are stupid sometimes if you've been heavily trained in mathematics or some technical subject. But then, think about this, smart guys. The guy got ahead of you that was not so smart, or at least you think he's not so smart. How did he get so far ahead? Excuse me. He's making way over six figures, and you might be barely making six figures as a smart person, right? You want to know why this guy who ain't as smart as you are got ahead. I'm here to show you exactly why in this business on this page here with mind games. Essentially, you got to get control of your own mind games in your own head. You know you're smart. You can do the job better than anyone else, yet others move up faster and sometimes ahead of you. So what's going on? I will show you exactly what's going on. So I was, I guess about 12 years ago, my boss at the time, let's call him Jack. He walked up to me and said, "Hey, man, the way you're doing in the meetings in the morning is starting to affect us." And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He said, "The way you walk into the meeting and do this and do that," and because I was the systems engineer on the project, he started saying the effect I had on the meeting, and I was like, I had no idea what the hell he was talking about. So, emotional intelligence. The guy I was working for apparently was pointing out to me some of the effect I was having in the meeting by the way I walked in the morning. And at the time, I considered emotional intelligence and stuff to be irrelevant to engineering projects. And just at the time, it took me several years to figure out what he was talking about because I just had no idea what he was talking about. How would the way I walk into a meeting have an effect on a meeting? Struck me as strange. I'm sure you technical guys had similar cases where someone talked to you about the way you do something and you're like, well, what the hell are they talking about? All right. And so I progressed from that area of a technical guy being a wizard at technical skills engineering, and then moved on to another career in business development and sales. So now I have to interact with and make contact with thousands of people every year. I got friends, beautiful models, asking me for advice about spirituality, health, career choices, and how to manage people, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I do nowadays. Is I got to interact on a sales level with thousands of people and take a leadership role and push at getting business done, and pulling in about $2.5 to $3 million of business based on my relationships with other people. So I was this technical, some people might call nerd type. I don't know if I was that far into that type of watching Star Trek or stuff like that because I never did. Some of you guys probably do, but I had to make the transition. So eventually, as I developed these skills initially, I was walking into the HR office demanding what I wanted and saying, this is how it's going to be, and I'm going to get it, one way or the other, or I'm going. And nowadays, I have to, connect with thousands of people to convince them to do business with me and my company. So that's my story to build a bit of credibility there. So let's go to the next page here. This is why I'm doing this live session. I want engineers and technical people like me to break out of the engineer ghetto and become major forces of leadership. Connect with my page, follow my page now, and we can get started. In the next few months, I'm going to be doing some formal seminars, for a few $100 sometimes. Some of the major ones later on in the year, I might get up to a few $1,000s a seat, but for now, a few $100 a seat. And so I've been there. I came through the other side, and you, as a technical person, want to learn from someone who has been there. I'm asking you to join me. I'll bring you through the process. This video is going to show you some of the techniques. I want to see you take on your company. I want to see you take on your industry and hear from you 6 months from now or a year from now of your story. That's what I want to see. So let's get started here. Let's get started. So we have a rough agenda in the back here, in back of me here. And so I'm going to back off here a little bit so we can see. What this agenda is. So those of you technical guys, if you don't take anything else away from this talk, get a hold of Robert Cialdini's book called Influence. That's the title of it. And you want to become an expert at the 6 levers of influence. It's heavily researched, heavily documented, lots of examples. And so this is going to be the basis of where you need to learn, what you need to learn first. So I suggest you should approach this in 3 stages if you're a technical person trying to increase your emotional intelligence, your connection with people around you. And Cialdini's a good introduction that most technical people can get their heads around because it's heavily research based, and it's kind of written from a technical guy writing it, because Cialdini kind of comes across as a statistician, numbers guy who studies this stuff as a kind of a PhD type. Next, getting a little bit further into the technique in solving the problem on a more practical level is Olivia Fox-Cabane wrote a book called The Charisma Myth. Very, very technical book on how to develop charisma using techniques. Now, she gets really deep into some of the meditation, some of the shame stuff, stories in our heads, how to go into a meeting and do some quick fixes on your body posture and stuff to help yourself out in increasing your charisma. Because if you're a technical guy and you have problems with emotional intelligence, charisma is what you need to actually start studying. After you get a hold of the research in Cialdini, you can start one before the other. Who cares, right? So she said there's 3 elements to charisma: presence, power, and warmth. So presence is kind of a more or less undefined term, where you say, oh, that guy has presence. He's comfortable in his own skin. How do you do that? Right? Major military leaders tend to have a good presence. Major religious leaders whom you trust, you just automatically trust them. They have presence. They walk into a room or they're on camera and you just feel like the room fills up with their essence, more or less. And how do you do that? And she shows you some techniques. Mostly for the easy stuff, it's body language. You want to take up more space. Don't constrict yourself while you look scared or like you're trying to avoid something, but it's to take up more space is one of them, and to be comfortable in your space, relaxed. Like if you're leaning forward like I am, it's like you still gotta take up some space and relax and make sure you're not tensed up and nervous and you look like a scared person, right? That's kind of sort of the stuff she might show you under presence. Power is again the ability to make things happen, but you have to project this in charisma. So power could be spiritual, physical, with your voice. You don't speak timidly. You don't end on a high note. Do you like this? Or what's the something called uptalk, which is very bad. Like you say, yeah, that's right. Or normally, where the uptalk without power is, yeah, you like that? You like that? You like that? Or it's kind of like you go up on the ending word with the uptalk, which it's extremely difficult for me to do because I got it out of my system. But no, you should end sentences unless they're questions. You should end sentences on a low note than the rest of the sentence, like that. Like a judge pronouncing a final verdict. It is done. Low note. Instead of it is done. It is done. You see, you don't end it on the high note. You end it on the low note to project more power. Boom. Boom. See, it's okay to talk with a high pitch if you end on a lower note. See that? Still hitting the bottom. The end of my sentence hits the bottom or goes lower than most of the sentence being high. Unless I ask you a question. Are you okay? That's the only time you can go with an up note is if you're asking a question. And then sometimes when you end on a low note when you're asking a question that gives you more power. Are you okay? And you use gestures to compensate for not hitting the low note on the question. Are you okay? See? Warmth. So you got to connect with people on some level, and it doesn't mean being touchy-feely or weak. It's just the process is you have to read what they're feeling and project that you're dealing with it in some way. That's the warmth thing. No, you don't have to be touchy-feely and you don't even have to be caring. You just have to be able to feel through what they're feeling and work with what they're feeling. That's warmth, connection and warmth. So a lot of people think it's being weak and giving in to the other party and giving yourself up. No, it's essentially being able to work with what they're giving and feeling in the conversation. And this is very effective for a one-on-one sort of situation. One-on-one works very well, this warmth thing. Now, when you're in front of an audience, you can kind of work the audience by focusing on one person or a couple of people or 5 people in the audience and feel what they're feeling if they're a kind of a representative of the people around them or a subset. So warmth is basically working with what other people are feeling. Not necessarily connecting with them and being affected by them, but working with what they're putting out there. And some of you might think, oh my God, that's a strange, a foreign concept. And we'll show you how to do that on this page and within this business that I'm doing here. So in summary, those of you who are just getting into emotional intelligence and you are ready to stick your toe in the water of emotional intelligence, get a hold of Cialdini, his book Influence, and get a hold of The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. And I'm going to move into some of the reasons why you need to study this stuff first. And then when we get into deeper personal work, like the hard work, if you want to really become good at EQ, no matter your level of whether you think you're a mean person or you're a cold person or you're a logical person, it doesn't matter. When you get deep into this stuff, you're ultimately getting into spirituality and health. And that's the final little notes I have up here. Spirituality and health. We'll talk about meditation. All the great religions have meditation. They might use other words for it, but that's what they have to do. Religions have to. or spiritual traditions have to focus on meditation. If they don't, they're not a religious or a spiritual organization. Purpose. If you're in spirituality, you have to focus on purpose. Like I said, otherwise, there's no reason for the religious or spiritual institution if you're not talking about purpose in some way. Mental states. Controlling your psychology, controlling your psyche, controlling how you react to things, your mental states, being aware of when your mental states change. A lot of technical people, they get blindsided because they're not paying attention to their internal states. And when their internal states change, they don't take note of it. And then suddenly, boom, they're blindsided by the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind. So you smart guys need to get this little image in your head right here. You think we're all cerebral, thinking is human, and if you're not thinking, you're not human. No, 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 no. Back off, dude. Words and speaking and articulation is a very small part of humanity, and it's a very recent development, and it's not very well developed, obviously, because we have hundreds of languages on the planet, and you can speak French as well as you speak English and Spanish and communicate the same thing, but it takes you years to learn either language. So it's a very undeveloped thing. It's like you're not born knowing how to speak English, French, Spanish, or whatever. So the conscious mind using language is a very small part of what's going on here. And that's what this is. About 95% of what happens to you is from your subconscious or unconscious mind. And only a very small slither, let's say 5%, I think it's actually lower than that, probably 2 to 1%, is your conscious mind. So you can think of it as the conscious mind is a tool of the subconscious mind, not the other way around. For the most part, most smart people think the conscious mind drives the subconscious when in fact it's probably the other way around, more or less. Now you can program your subconscious mind once you figure out your purpose and you start programming it using NLP, hypnosis, and various other techniques developed from the Ericksonian school of psychology, which started out in hypnosis and then developed into NLP, and then certain gurus like Tony Robbins just took it a million times further than Erickson and his school did. So we'll get into that. The body. You need to pay attention to your body and learn how to pay attention to what the hell's going on in your body. That involves heart rate, breathing rate, tension versus not tension, relax, hot, cold. Are you relaxed or are you not? Can you breathe easy? Do you feel rushed or do you feel not rushed? Very, very important to pay attention to your body. Conscious mind. Yeah, we need to understand how some of the crap we do affects our unconscious mind. So watching certain types of movies puts you in a bad mental state. So you got to watch that. Watch your reaction in your body to certain arts you consume, certain social media you consume, certain advertising you consume. And when these states change in your body and they signaling danger or something you don't want to be experiencing, learn how to shut it out immediately or as fast as possible. Again, it's paying attention to your body, paying attention to your mental states, and understanding your subconscious mind versus your conscious mind, and how to know when your subconscious mind shoots up a flare of caution for mental hygiene, right? And then your conscious mind needs to reorganize around you what you're doing to make sure the unconscious mind is getting what you want it to get, the positive stuff, not necessarily the negative dark stuff, or if you know how to control it, right? Triggers. Are you working through things that trigger you? Because most of us, none of our parents were perfect and none of our childhoods were perfect. So you got triggers way deep into your body that you don't know where they came from. And then suddenly, if you do the work of listening to your body with meditation and health practices and mindfulness practices, journaling practices, trying to figure out what triggers you and go deep into your body on what's going on in your body when you get triggered, and try to work through these triggers to tamp down the unconscious effects of a trigger. Using your conscious mind to reorganize the things around you to work through the trigger to where the trigger is no longer doing bad things to you. So we need to learn how to do the triggers. Hypnosis, we need to learn the basics of hypnosis and what it does. So hypnosis is either taking the conscious mind and focusing it on something clearly, or unfocusing it against nothing, and unfocusing it where it's not focused on anything in particular. Because let's say you have a problem and you're overly focused on something like a trigger or a threat, or some threat you shouldn't be focused on. That's overfocus. So to unfocus is a form of hypnosis. Or if you're too scatterbrained and you can't focus on any one thing to solve the problem, hypnosis will show you how to zone in and focus really well on that. And so it's working with the interaction between the conscious and the unconscious mind and making sure they're working together. That's what hypnosis is about. And NLP is like a branch of hypnosis. So you'll learn to work with modalities like the sense of sight, sound, and touch, pressure, or whatever, of skin, a touch, a feeling, to ensure that the conscious mind and the unconscious mind are interacting in a healthy way. That's what hypnosis and NLP, a neuro-linguistic program, can do. And we'll talk a lot about that through this page, through this business I'm setting up here, or one-on-one chat sessions with you for a fee, of course, through, we can do it through PayPal, something easy, something simple. All right. So we've gone through the list of various things for what technical people who need to be learning about this emotional intelligence better, and what we're going to be talking about on this page and what we're going to offer. But once you become the master of emotional intelligence, you want to go really deep into fixing all of your quirks, your kinks, the stuff that's really you want to get good at it. We gotta talk about spirituality and health. We can connect into the priestly office the way it's supposed to be, not just like nowadays. The priestly or the pastoral office is talking about doctrines or crazy stuff like that. But the real priestly office, spirituality, is a one-on-one interaction where the priest figure, the druid, the wizard, Gandalf, or the druid or the wizard or the priest figure, works on your purpose and connects that to what you're doing. Why were you put on this planet? Go through that. And sometimes you can't articulate your purpose in English or French or Spanish or Russian, whatever language you speak, which is normal. You really don't want to articulate it, but you want to be able to feel through it to where you can put a summary of it maybe in your language. But it's always going to be a pull towards something, a purpose. Purpose is you're pulled toward what? And you got to feel through that in your body and your soul. It usually comes from the chest area. People used to say heart. Comes from your heart. Well, that's an overused expression, so we're going to say it pulls you towards something from your chest area, from your center of being, towards something. What is your purpose in life? Connecting to that. And then talking about and working through, as you progress in your spirituality, is it telling you that you're going in the correct direction from here? Not in this conscious mind stuff. Oh, is it logical? Does that make sense? Because that's what my dad told me, or my mother told me, or some professor told you, or some idiot school teacher, professor, whatever told you. But your purpose, that's in your gut, in the gut. It's right here in the chest, pulling you towards something. As you progress during your day, your week, your year, the druid, the priestly office, the wizard, the Gandalf figure connects your purpose to your day-to-day activities. And are we going toward our purpose, or are we getting away from our purpose? Toward or away. And that's ultimate spirituality. Is why did you come to earth? What are you doing here? Are you doing the purpose you chose for the most part, or not so much? That is the priestly office, the druid figure, the wizard, the Gandalf figure, for those of you into Lord of the Rings. So that's the priestly office that we can talk about here. So that's where we're going with this page, and with this business I'm setting up. I'm getting well trained to do this through the organization connected to Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. So I'm going through this, making sure I become an expert at the business end of things, plus at the I'm already trained to do the coaching part of it. I need to make sure I'm good on the internet and the business side of things. So that's what we're going to be doing here on this page. So let's go to this page here. Hopes and dreams. You want to create new things and solve difficult problems if you're a technical person. And you want to share this elation with others, but you have trouble doing this. You have a fear of looking stupid, a fear of making a mistake, a fear of looking like a fool to your peers or your boss, to your friends, family. Fear of not knowing what to do with this simple emotional bullshit. Okay, it's not bullshit, but as a technical person, you might run into that attitude that emotional stuff is emotional bullshit. It's not, okay? How can a technical person become a world leader? Do you ever run into many technical CEOs or entrepreneurs? Not much. You might hear about it on media, but I'm talking about people you know. The media guys, you never know if it's real or not. Most technical people might go for MBAs or law or accounting degrees to get another degree. I need another degree because I'm not as successful as an engineer or a technical person as I was expecting it to be. So yeah, you go get MBAs or accounting or law degrees. It's okay. It's not a bad thing to see if you can get more success, but that's not going to give you success. Success comes from the chest, from the gut, from the heart. So how can I prove my qualifications? What is my path? Can you believe my path? If you're a technical person, you probably can suffer a lot from weak relationships, and this could be personal or a business. Lack of power. Even with all those smarts you have, you can't convince people on how to do things correctly. You don't have power. Other people blindside you, even if those people you think are dumb or not as smart as you are. They get stuff done, right? How do they do it? You might speak the truth and get some blowback from this among your peers. How to deal with that? Yes, you can still speak the truth. And you got to know how to do that. And you have to know what the consequences are, accept the consequences and work through them. You will get blowback speaking the truth. You will get it. Sticking to reality and the facts of science and still not be able to get action taken. So some of you technical people, you stick to the facts. You always stick to the science, but you still can't get anything done. You still can't get action done. What's going on there, We need to connect you to your EQ, to the gut, to the heart, using various techniques that have been proven. And I've been there. So what are you missing out on? You're missing out on relationships. You're missing out on real power. You're missing out on esteem outside of your technical bubble. Engineers or technical people understand you, but outside of that bubble, you probably don't have many people that get you, understand you. And we need to fix that, right? so you can have more power and more effectiveness around you. Being able to walk into a room full of non-technical people with the same ease as you walk into a design review. Technical people get more invitations to conferences. Again, power, effectiveness, influence. Working with people who bring in the money. So you probably don't know many people who have control over the money except maybe your immediate manager. Or if you're a manager, it's probably have a lot of trouble accessing people who have tons of money. You're stuck if you're a technical manager. Using your smarts in non-technical situations to help others. What I'm doing here, actually. Showing you my path, showing you how I got from point A to point B, and being able to take these technical smarts, flesh them out with some of this stuff, and be effective in connecting with others and making a bigger, more powerful influence that you're designed for. I mean, some of you guys make probably pretty good money, but it's like you reach a glass ceiling with the lack of EQ, with a lack of emotional intelligence. That's what you lack for many, many technical people. All right, let's review what we did here, and we'll shut this down and close it out. Keep it up there as a video you guys can watch. So we went over Cialdini, where it's up there on the wall. Reciprocation, commitment and consistency, social proof, liking, authority, and scarcity. You need to know that as a technical person, what these 6 things mean, so you can start working on each one of the categories according to your skill set and ability. The charisma myth, right here, presence, power, and warmth. There's many types of charisma. We can get into that in this course. Meditation and spirituality and health. Technical people need to get really good at a few of these techniques. You don't need to get good at all of them like I am, but a few. You need to take care of the spirituality and health. You need to get in touch with your inner druid, your inner wizard, your inner Gandalf, your inner priest functions, and work through this stuff. So there we go. Well, this is a fun little lecture. I hope you guys like this. Like my page. Click, 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 click. Like that page. Be prepared and waiting for some of my subsequent more detailed interactive seminars and lectures based on some of the stuff we already talked about, but going very deep into your psyche, the psyche of the technical person, and how they can deploy this mental power you have into the spiritual and emotional power you need to go from point A to point B to take the next step in your career level, or the next step in your influence and power level to go higher and be more effective for your purpose in life. Not just be stuck in this technical ghetto where you only get along with people who are just like you, right? Okay? Be safe out there. Take care. Till next time. Bye.